Today we have Christine Greybe, who's one of the top recruiters for board and executive search with DHR, but a long-standing pillar here in the Hong Kong community, in the search community for many years with Executive Access before that, and then before that she was a school teacher. So we're very, very excited to have Christine here just to talk about what's going on in the executive recruitment area and you know, how to get board members, how to make yourself a target for searches, and many other things, as we'll talk about going through what it's been like for the last 18 months. So Christine, welcome to Digging into the Future.
Thanks, Bill. Great to be on. So
if you're an aspiring CEO, right, and you're not a CEO now, and you're looking to get noticed by someone like yourself, where do you go looking for these talents? So for that next tier of executives that are trying to find their first CEO post, where do you go mining?
Well, how are we looking for it?
Yeah.
Well, for us, we looking at a couple of things. So we're looking at the success of an organization or an industry. So, you know, when we're going out, we're very purposeful about, okay, you know, let's say we've got a search in the retail industry and we want someone who's, you know, driven a transformation of a P&L. Then we're going to look for that skill. There's a lot of interest in the first-time CEO or the first-time board member as companies are thinking of diversity and, you know, inclusion and sort of bringing younger, more talented individuals in. So, you know, there is a real opportunity, but we look at, you know, predictive performance. You know, what has someone done in the past, you know, and so if you want to get noticed, it's making sure that you know, are visible. And I would say if a headhunter calls, even if you're not interested, take their call. You know, make them aware that you exist. This isn't the timing, but maybe in 5 years' time, you may be looking for something. You know, so make sure you have a updated LinkedIn profile. You know, make sure you have a resume or profile to share. So, you know, and network. You know, be purposeful about your career. If you want to move ahead, you want to be on a board. You know, chart what is the board, what is the industry. You know, and be purposeful. Meet people, reach out. Be open to those conversations. I think sometimes at the more senior level, people are a bit closed and to conversations, you know, so they don't think about, well, I may need it in 1 or 2 years, you know. So own that trajectory of your career.
Oh, that's interesting. That's that's very, very good advice. So when you say you look from a you know, looking at the track record, obviously LinkedIn is one of those ways. Are there other ways that you track executives? Do you have an internal tracking database, or how does all that work?
You know, we have internal databases. We track, you know, people and information. You know, we keep records on people. We notice variations in resumes. You know, interesting. People leave jobs off. I find that fascinating. It's like, you know, there's always a track record. But we also look at performance of the companies. You know, how is the company done? You know, if you're looking at a P&L, you look at performance. You know, you use any of the tools out there, Zoom Info, you know, the NASDAQ to see how a company's performing. You look at PitchBook for private equity. So there are a lot of different avenues for us to look at the performance. But then we're also looking at, you know, maybe specific things about brand building, or, you know, we may even look at the results someone's had in sort of brand awareness on TikTok. You know, what are the case studies that are out there? So there's a lot of data. So, you know, that's what our researchers do. And, you know, the partners will do is really build that picture of someone and also the picture of the company they represent. And, you know, a lot of information is very, very available and very visible. So, you know, you can support it. Clients want you to support it by tangible examples. You know, what is, you know, predictive behavior means you've done it before. So, you know, that information isn't just coming from the candidate. You're actually supporting it with real research and real, you know, statistics and data that's publicly available.
Where's all the action happening? You seeing it all in the United States, or is it around the globe? I mean, are there pockets of demand, or what are you seeing?
Well, we're seeing that North America, Europe, and Middle East are outpacing Asia Pacific and Latin America at this point. We think that come 2022, when you see, some of the restrictions around COVID, government regulations, etc., you're going to see changes. But at the moment, those are the three markets that we see, three geographies.
Yeah. Now, what about for board searches? Are you seeing the same thing, or is it mostly U.S. focused?
It's probably leading North America and Europe, then Europe. But the North American market for both search and board, at the CEO and board level, is just incredible right now. There's a lot of pent-up demand, there's a lot of transformation, there's a reskilling, there's diversity, equity, and inclusion. There's a lot of different lenses coming to play, and boards are getting very active in looking at who they've assembled on the board, what's the representation, do they have the right CEO in place? So there's a lot of change, and so the market is very active at that level, and then also at the emerging leader level. Interesting, that's another growth opportunity, and we've seen the same pace of growth at these two levels.
Yeah. Now, what do you see with obviously you've got a long history in Hong Kong, and do you see is this China-U.S. thing sort of disjoining? You're hearing that Chinese companies are selling out and having to change their ownership structure. Are they having to change their boards, and do you find any work from the Chinese trying to Americanize their board or vice versa? Is that happening?
I think there's a little bit of that happening, but what we see, there's definitely this realization that people need to be aware of the Chinese political situation, regulatory environments, economic environment. So I don't think that we're seeing the demand for necessarily a Chinese board member today, but we anticipate that will be coming, but definitely the expat experienced American. So the need for somebody who's got that global lens, somebody who's, has an awareness of what's happening politically and economically. So all those geopolitical, experiences matter. So you do see that, and I think that's a trend you'll continue to see happen as, there's a lot of issues going on right now with the supply chain, with localization versus globalization. So clients are looking at the lens of, we need that expertise. And so they are getting it through the diversity hires, they are doing it through, the diversity of thinking. So they're different approaches.
Well, thank you, Christine. This has been wonderful, and it's been great to chat with you about search and what's going on, and obviously the challenges. It looks like you've pushed your way through, so it's been pretty exciting. So thanks for joining us on Digging into the Future.